As someone who loves conspiracy theories, there are still definitely a ton of conspiracy theories that I'm too scared to believe. For me, these are kind of the conspiracy theories that I would be absolutely terrified if they were true. But also there are the conspiracy theories that I do believe have truth to them, but I just kind of don't like to think about it, you know? Besides when I film these type of videos, because you guys really like them, even though I'm scared. So, thanks. The first conspiracy theory that I'm too scared to believe is all about the Illuminati and soul contracts and selling your soul to the devil. So the music industry is something that has always very much interest to me. I think that it's one of the things in Hollywood that's probably the most Illuminati-like, and we've seen literal proof of that. The entire idea of like selling your soul to the devil or making a deal with like some sort of dark force in exchange for power and success is actually a lot older than you would think. This theory has been going on for centuries. There's a lot of ancient origins around the idea of a soul contract. In the 16th century, there was a man named Johann Faust who was a German scholar, and allegedly he summoned a demon and exchanged his soul for unlimited knowledge and power. And then after years of success, he was dragged to hell. Also, many medieval Christian writings warned that people could sell their souls to Satan in exchange for success, wealth, or talent. And a lot of Catholic priests will claim that they had to do exorcisms on people who made these dark pacts. And in more recent times, there's been a lot of different celebrities who have claimed to sell their soul to the devil in some sort of way. Whether it's a joke or not is up for your discretion, I guess. For one, Bob Dylan in 2004 was asked how he became so successful, and he responded, "It goes back to that deal I made a long time ago."
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I mean, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
I don't like that. Katy Perry also very famously joked about this. She is obviously a pop star, but she began her career as a Christian singer, and she was rejected from multiple different labels, and in a 2009 interview, she casually just said, "I wanted to be the next Amy Grant, who's a Christian artist, but it didn't work out, so I sold my soul to the devil."
Like almost 10 years ago. Yeah, I mean, I released a gospel record when I was 15 because I grew up in, a household where all I ever did was listen to gospel music, and my parents are both traveling ministers, and so I kind of sang about, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
And even though she laughed about saying it, a lot of people think that was the truth hidden in plain sight. Of course, a lot of people think Beyonce is a part of the Illuminati and sold her soul to the devil in some regard. Mostly because of her occult imagery, the symbolisms, her doing the Illuminati, all-seeing eye symbol, all of that. And I just think she's kind of one of the first celebrities you think of, because obviously she's one of the biggest celebrities on earth. And not for nothing, but we kind of know that this is true to an extent. Do I think these celebrities are selling their soul to the literal devil, like actual Satan? No. But what I do think is that they're selling themselves and doing things that are very, very fucking dark and you could say straight up evil in order to become famous and gain success. And we've literally seen that be proven. I think with the entire P. Diddy trial, it's just there. The proof is there. Literally, the rapper Lil Rod, basically the one who has this lawsuit against Diddy in the first place, claims that Diddy coerced him into doing things that were terrible that he didn't want to do, and threatened his career if he didn't do those things. Obviously, that's really disturbing, and probably on a smaller level of what we actually don't see that's going on in the music industry. And again, that just to me feels like there's literal proof of this theory that there actually are people who are willing to sell their soul to the devil in order to gain fame and success. I think this is without a doubt a true conspiracy theory, and I hate that. But I don't really think, again, that it's an actual Satan himself. I don't know if I believe that exists, but teach their own. I do think it's more of a metaphor for some really evil, dark shit, Jeffrey Epstein shit, P. Diddy shit that is happening within the music industry that honestly P. Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein probably just scraped the surface of which is horrifying when you think about that. Not for nothing, but I also think it's interesting that when artists try to expose the industry and their control, they honestly often just die. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's clearly a thing that's been happening. Michael Jackson is one that I really think of. He was always calling Sony out, which is one of the biggest producing companies ever. And he was saying that Sony just had complete control over artists. And he even called Sony's executive the devil. Michael Jackson also claimed that he feared for his life. There are many people who corroborate this theory, including his close family and friends, that believe that Michael Jackson was killed because he wanted to break the silence of what was happening in the music industry. Prince is another person who repeatedly called out the industry's control, and he would always say the industry just owns artists, and he started referring to himself as the artist to try to escape this kind of contract that he was dealing with, and then he suddenly died of an accidental overdose. Again, I just feel like the patterns here are too strong to ignore. Like, if we're hearing about that in the sense of the P. Diddy trial case with Lil Rod, I just think that that is such definitive proof that this is actually something that's happening in Hollywood, because P. Diddy is not even one of the most, like, famous people in the music industry. Like, he is obviously super famous, but there are also so many more really rich and powerful producers that have probably, like, 20 times the amount of money and power that P. Diddy had. Those people scare me. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's so scary to believe that it's true, but I genuinely think it is, and I don't like it. I think anyone who gets into the music industry has to have a very, very thick skin, and also like a very important sense of self. That you don't want to lose yourself in that kind of industry, because you see it happen all the time. And I don't want to say it doesn't happen in the Hollywood space overall, because obviously we've seen pieces of shit like Harvey Weinstein and Dan Schneider. But I do think that for some reason, the music industry, the way that they have control over the artists is just more, like, evil, if that makes sense. Like, it's more devilish, and I don't like it. Alright, the next theory that I want to talk about is kind of tinfoil hat a little bit. I don't think the moon landing is fake. I've talked about this before, but I also do think that the astronauts saw some shit. First of all, we did stop going to the moon, and I think that this is an interesting theory to talk about, because the United States spent billions of dollars on the Apollo program, and then after just a few missions, NASA just kind of abandoned going to the moon completely. And they claimed that after Apollo 17 that they simply just didn't have the budget to continue lunar exploration, but that's not exactly true, because you have to consider the long-term plans that NASA had in place. For one, before Apollo 17, NASA had planned Apollo 18, 19, and 20, and all of those missions were already scheduled and funded, yet they were canceled without very clear explanation. Scientists at that time were also arguing that returning to the moon was essential for establishing a permanent human presence in space. So theoretically, if NASA had the technology, funding, and strategic reasons to continue lunar missions, why did we stop so abruptly? And that's where many people believe that NASA was given some sort of warning by aliens or some sort of extraterrestrial to stay away. And I hate that I believe this theory, because it is very tinfoil hat of me, but it's freaky, okay? So Buzz Aldrin was the second man to ever walk the moon, and he basically has admitted that the Apollo 11 crew saw something, quote, unexplainable during their mission. In an interview, he described seeing a bright moving object following the spacecraft, and he later said that they saw flashing lights on the moon that seemed artificial. And NASA quickly classified and censored parts of their transmissions. Neil Armstrong, obviously the first man on the moon, had always been cautious about what he said publicly, but there are reports of him privately saying things to different friends and family. For one, according to alleged conversation with a professor at a NASA event, allegedly Neil Armstrong said, "We were warned off the moon. There were structures. They were watching us." And again, while this claim is unverified, it matches what other astronauts and whistleblowers have suggested. During the Apollo missions that we did go on, there were several radio transmissions that were abruptly cut off from public broadcasting. Some researchers claim that NASA used the code word Santa Claus to refuse to UFOs or unknown objects near the spacecraft, which makes sense if you think about it, because, like, what else is like an unknown object flying in the sky? Santa Claus. And this Santa Claus code was allegedly heard in multiple Apollo missions, suggesting that strange sightings were not a one-time event. And one of the most well-documented cases happened during Apollo 11, where just after landing, NASA's live audio went silent for 2 minutes. And according to leaked sources, during the blackout, Armstrong and Aldrin were reportedly seeing a large unknown craft watching them from a distance. And it just is interesting because, like, what could have been so shocking that made NASA cut the feed? Did they just lose reception? I don't know. I'm not obsessed with that, not gonna lie. Like, it really freaks me out because I personally have always thought the moon landing is real, but I do think that they're not telling us parts about it, you know what I mean? And I think this makes a lot of sense, and I'm too scared to believe it because I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's happening in space. Leave her alone, you know? The next theory that I want to talk about is also kind of piggybacking on the Illuminati theory, but it's the idea of the elite's obsession with harvesting youth. I think this has always been something so interesting to me because I feel like everyone, the media and everything is so obsessed with the idea of staying young, and it's kind of creepy some of the things that like they're willing to do to get that effect, I guess. I mean, this kind of eternal youth thing is nothing new. Like the idea of like the pursuit of youth and immortality, it's been going on for literally centuries. Like, there were people in the 1500s who murdered a ton of young girls and bathed in their blood because they believed that that would keep them young. But something I feel like people do not talk enough about is this clip of Sandra Bullock on Ellen.
Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. That how many did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra?
Sarah?
Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby. That's what it is.
Okay.
Who comes up with this?
I don't think, it's not like I'm lying there with little pieces all over my face. It's like,
Who thinks of collecting it and having it for, we'll do something with this someday.
And why didn't we come up with that?
Right. We'd be rich.
And so we call it, I call it the penis facial, and I think when you see how good it is to your face, you too will run to your local facialist and say, give me the penis.
Like, what do you mean by that? I've never heard something so strange in my life. I just feel like that's legit crazy. I do think that Hollywood and the elite in general have been for literally centuries trying to sought out ways to extend life or have like this fountain of youth kind of energy, and it's just, I don't like that a lot. Like, a lot of people think that like Jeffrey Epstein, for example, was using children not just to SA them, but also for some genetic purposes to try to remain younger. I don't know if I think that's true, but this theory overall really freaks me out. I don't like that. Like, again, I feel like if there was any evidence that if you bathed in the blood of children, that would keep you young, there would be so many different celebrities that would be into it. Like, I feel like Kim Kardashian, I don't know. I just think that it's dark. And I don't even think these things obviously work, but I do think it's weird how willing they are to do such dark things, and like for Sandra Bullock to like go and say that on like live television, to me is like so crazy, because it's like, what else are people doing that they're not talking about? You know what I mean? Like, that's absurd. It's absurd. All right, the next theories I want to talk about have to do with Antarctica. Antarctica is just something, again, it's kind of like outer space to me. I don't like to think about it because I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, what's there? Why is it so restricted? I don't know. But there are a lot of dark theories as to why. For years, conspiracy theorists have actually believed that Antarctica is actually home to secret government bases, ancient lost civilizations, or even a portal to another dimension. Not saying I necessarily believe the latter of those, but it is interesting. For one, you have to think, why is Antarctica so restricted? Antarctica is governed by the Antarctic Treaty, which was signed in 1959 by more than 50 countries, which basically prohibits military activity, mining and resource extraction, nuclear testing, and private land ownership. On paper, this treaty was created to preserve Antarctica for peaceful and scientific purposes. But some people believe that it's actually a global agreement to keep things hidden. I just think it's interesting that all major governments cooperate in this situation to keep Antarctica restricted, including countries that are rivaling with each other. I just think that that's obviously interesting, and also satellite images show massive no-fly zones over parts of Antarctica, which just makes no sense. And you also have to think, why wouldn't powerful countries want to exploit Antarctica for various valuable resources that may be there? One of the most mind-blowing discoveries that is about Antarctica happened in 2020 when NASA scientists in Antarctica detected mysterious particles that appeared to be moving backwards in time, which would essentially mean that these particles did not behave according to the laws of physics that we know, and or they seem to be coming from a different universe or reality, and they move in reverse, suggesting that they may have originated from a parallel world where time flows backwards. And I just don't like that. I don't. Some scientists suggested that this could be evidence of a mirror universe existing alongside of our own. And if that's true, it could kind of prove the theory of existence of alternate realities, time distortions, or even interdimensional beings. And overall, I kind of just don't love that. I don't love that. So if these parallel particles are proof of parallel universes, could that explain the Mandela effect? Is that actually a parallel universe? Like, are there genuinely timelines where we kind of cross over and mix around where things have happened or didn't happen? That's why we remember people dying or not dying, or just various things slightly changing. It's fucking weird. I don't like to think about it. I don't know. People also think that Antarctica could be connected to Atlantis, which I think is a pretty interesting conspiracy theory and kind of freaks me out a little bit less. But basically in 2016, NASA detected a massive anomaly under Antarctica, which was believed to be a buried structure that was larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. In 2017, satellite images showed strange rectangular structures buried under the ice, which people believe could be evidence of an ancient civilization. And also, scientists have discovered microbial life trapped in Antarctica's ice for millions of years, suggesting that the region was once habitable. A lot of theorists believe that Antarctica was once a thriving society that was wiped out by some sort of catastrophic event. Apparently, Plato's writings about Atlantis describe a highly advanced civilization that vanished beneath the ocean, and Antarctica's landmass matches a lot of the descriptions of Atlantis from ancient texts. And sudden climate shifts could have turned it from a habitable land to a frozen wasteland. And if these ancient ruins really exist beneath the ice of Antarctica, it seems like the governments may be covering it up to prevent rewriting human history, which I just don't love. They love doing that. They love to rewrite history. I don't like that. The last story I want to talk about is billionaires that go missing. This is like a phenomenon that has been happening over the past decade, but there has been some people who have stepped down from very powerful positions without clear explanations. Are there other people who have mysteriously died or just gone missing without a trace? But meanwhile, it seems like some of the richest people in the world are preparing for something that we don't know about. And I don't like that. So there's been a lot of crypto billionaires who have died under really suspicious circumstances. A 29-year-old crypto billionaire, Nikolai Michigan, was found dead on a beach in Puerto Rico, and just hours before his death, he literally tweeted, "CIA and Mossad and pedo elite are running some kind of sex trafficking blackmail ring. They will torture me to death." What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't like that at all. I don't like that. And he died a few hours later. That's actually insane. And his death was ruled a drowning, but his friends and family say that he was not suicidal at all, and this just didn't make sense. And then on November 23rd of 2022, a 30-year-old crypto billionaire, Tiantian Cullender, was found dead in his sleep. Again, 30 years old, no prior health issues, no cause of death given. And he was the co-founder of Amber Group, which was a major cryptocurrency firm. November 25th of 2022, Russian billionaire Vyacheslav Taran was actually killed in a helicopter crash in Monaco, even though the helicopter pilot was extremely experienced, and the crash happened in, quote, perfect flying conditions. And again, he was the third major crypto billionaire to die in less than a month. Like, what are the odds of that? Like, the amount of billionaires is obviously low, so that's just insane in itself. Some people believe that they knew something about financial systems collapsing, global control structures, or an upcoming economic reset. Also, not to mention, there's another bizarre trend happening here where a lot of the world's most famous tech CEOs are just abruptly resigning from their positions. Jeff Bezos Bezos stepped down from Amazon in 2021, and a lot of people speculate that he's preparing for some major event like a global disaster based on some houses he's purchased. Apparently there are a lot of billionaires who just keep purchasing these areas with survival luxury underground bunkers, and I don't really love that. I don't know, I also think that it could have to do with the fact that AI is like taking over, or could be taking over, and what happens if AI no longer needs humans to like operate it. Like, what happens when AI fully takes over? I don't really want to know or be here for that. You know, I'm kind of hoping that happens in like 100 years. I'm not really interested. I'm scared. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I'm honestly too scared. I gotta stop. But that is it. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments some conspiracy theories that you're too scared to believe, because I love these types of videos. It freaks me out when I'm just in the mood to have a tinfoil hat day, you know? But anyway, that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and subscribe for new videos every week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.